Hello, my name is Antonio, and this is the commentary for If Horror Movies Could Hear You. So this is an interesting video, and I wanted to talk about it for a little bit. And if you're a friend of mine or you kind of know like the backstory behind this video, you probably know what I'm going to talk about. But basically, in a nutshell, this video took around 2 years to make. And I know that, or maybe even 3 years, but overall, it's like how could a video this short and this simple in concept and execution just take that long? And yeah, if you don't know the backstory, well, I'm about to tell you. So basically, this video, this video came out in April or May of 2022, but the original idea for this video, I came up with it in July of 2019. Basically, I was still living at home, and my mom and my grandma were watching a scary movie. And at the time, I'm not a big scary movie fan or horror movie fan, but they were watching this horror movie, and they basically, my mom specifically, just said something along the lines of like, "Oh, don't go in there," like like very stereotypical like a person watching a horror movie, like, trying to, like sort of talking to the characters and like telling them, oh, don't do this thing that you're gonna die and all that. And I guess like I just thought about how absurd that is and like how a lot of people I guess would do that or just very stereotypically would do that. And I don't know, I just thought it would be a funny idea to explore if the characters in the horror movie heard the people talking to them. And so, at the time, I had the idea to just call this realistic horror movie. And I wrote the entirety of the script for this short little skit. And I was just like, all right, well, there's a skit. I'll probably make it soon. And so I was sitting on this script for a little bit. I was working on other videos like, Ask Toniverse videos and, vlogs and whatnot. But I was like, okay, at some point, I'll make this skit. But the way that I wrote it, I basically needed three characters. I needed the guy in the horror movie, obviously. I needed the guy watching the horror movie, and I needed the commercial, like the guy on the TV, the commercial break guy at the very end. And so my original idea for this video, when I first conceptualized it, was to have me be the guy in the horror movie, and then I would have one of my other friends, actually watching the horror movie. Probably we would film that part, in my house, because at the time I hadn't moved out or anything, so I was still living at home. But I still filmed a lot of videos in my childhood home. So, yeah, we would have, I kind of thought, okay, yeah, I'd be walking down like my main hallway in my house, and that would be like the scary movie part. And then, my main, sort of living room would be the setup for the guy watching the movie. And so I originally had the idea of my friend Aiden playing that character, just because he hadn't really been in any videos at the time or many videos at the time. So I was just like, okay, yeah, I mean, like, I'll include him in this video and he'll play that character. And I think I talked to him about it, and I think he said he agreed to do it at some point. And then I think the original idea was to have Brennan be the commercial break voice, at least voice. I don't know if he would have been like he would have actually shown up in the video, but he at least would have done voiceover for it. And that was the original idea I had. But around the time, and I actually had the idea to post this around Halloween that year, because it was July when I came up with it in 2019, and I was like, all right, this would be like a perfect video to put out as like a Halloween centric video. So my plan was to film it at some point in September or October, and then put it together really quick. It was a really short script, so I was like, I knew this wasn't going to take long to make, but it was just a matter of getting around to filming it. I planned on filming it, but senior year, at least the beginning of senior year, was weirdly challenging for me. I mean, like looking back, I feel like it's not nearly as challenging in my head as like it was at the time. But at least at the time, I was struggling. Like I was doing good in my classes. I felt good about them, but it was a lot of work. And I guess I overall I prioritized school and hanging out with friends over working on these videos. And so I kind of just took a little break from posting for a little bit. And that was just kind of what happened. And so I didn't end up getting around to filming this until around the winter break. I didn't really have much to do around winter break, and so I was like, okay, I guess I'll just get back to filming some videos. So midway through winter break, I invited my friends to come over to help me film this part specifically because I was like, okay, well, this is going to be the easiest part to film because it's me. So I had Cody, Dean, and Andrew come over to help me with this part, or with the part where I'm walking through the hallway. And we filmed that in December of 2019, and I was just like, I don't know when I'm gonna post this video, but hopefully soon. Um, and so yeah, we filmed this entire part, and I was like pretty satisfied with it. And I was like, all right, now it's just a matter of getting Aiden over. Well, it was a matter of editing down the horror movie parts so I could display them on my TV. And then getting Aiden over to, have him film the parts of him watching the movie or whatever. And so this was around like the beginning of 2020. Obviously, we don't need to go into what happened at the beginning of 2020. Everyone knows. But basically, I just kind of kept putting that off, and this was also just a matter of like uh, senior year was just tough, and I was kind of taking a break, so I was like, I don't know when I'm gonna end up filming the rest of this, but at least I have this part of it. And then March of 2020 hit. No one was really. I couldn't really have anyone over to film anymore, so it just kind of sat like this footage just kind of sat on my phone for a while. I think I eventually down or uploaded it to my laptop and just kept it on there for a bit. But it just kind of sat there for a while, for a long while. And I basically like I remember around 2020 when I didn't really have much else to do. I was filming a lot of other videos, but I basically had a list of videos that I prioritized over this one. And also it was a matter of like I couldn't have anyone over to film the parts of this video that I wanted, so I was just like, well, I mean, I can't really do much with this footage, so I'll just keep on sitting on it. Yeah, and that's what I did, and I kept sitting on it and sitting on it, and then 2 years went by, and yeah, and it wasn't until early in 2022, when I don't know, I'm not even gonna say the word because I'm tired of saying the word, but things cleared up a little bit, and I could actually film with people more often. And I did still have the idea that, and this was after I had moved out, and I was like, okay, well, this would actually be the perfect time to film this video because I don't need to worry about my folks at home like having to work around them, and no offense to them, but just like film this video with having to worry about them, and I could just kind of film it on my own time because I just kind of lived on my own with roommates, obviously, but you know I knew I could work with them for it, but yeah. So my plan was still to have Aiden over to film this, and then Brennan at some point would do the voiceover. But it got to the point where I think it was like early in April, and I needed a video to post in May, and I wasn't really sure what I wanted to post. So I was just like, okay, well, if worst comes to worst, I will finish this video, I guess, and I will kind of just do it on my own, and I'll just film every part. And I considered refilming the hallway scene just because the footage of the hallway scene was literally 2 years old at this point, or over 2 years old. But then I was just like, there's not really anything wrong with it, and it'd be a little bit more challenging to find time and a place to refilm this, the hallway scene. So I was just like, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna film that. I'm just gonna keep it and then film the other parts on my own time with just myself. And that's what I did. And so, around the middle of April, or it might have been like the very end of April. I think it was the very end of April. I sat down and I just filmed the parts of me watching the movie. And I filmed the parts of me as the commercial break guy in front of my green screen. And then I basically I needed like a monster. I guess like I originally planned on playing the monster because I figured Aiden would be the one watching the movie, and then I would just wear a mask so it wouldn't really look like it was me, and I would be the monster at the very end of the video. But since I was playing the guy watching the movie, I had to find someone else to play the monster, and so I invited my friend Dean to play that part, and that's who you see at the very end there. And it's a very quick, just very quick shot, but he did do a good job. He did what I needed him to do. So, but it ended up working out. I'm proud of how this video came out. I think it's a very just like very short fun skit. And even though the script was like 2 years old when I actually finished the video, I still think it actually it makes sense. It held up well. I don't know if I actually rewrote any of it. I don't think I did, but yeah, I think it's just a fun little skit. I like doing the more one-off skits sometimes. I don't tend to do them very often just because I have so many other videos that I focus on more, like Cooking with Brennan and the behind the scenes, Ask Toniverse, all that. But this video was fun, and I'm glad that I finally got to release it after so long. But overall, that is pretty much all I have to say about if horror movies could hear you. But yeah, thank you guys for watching and this commentary, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.